Good morning, internet. It's been a little while. I haven't been doing all this all that much. Obviously, as I said in one of my last videos, when I was arrested, it was so traumatic and like that I asked for the video this time because I was like, they can't get away with that. And anyway, I complained, but you make a rod for your own back. Anyway, been through all of that. But when I downloaded the video, there's something attached to it, and I'm pretty certain that on that was how my device got remotely jailbroken. So I need to really go to one of those shops and like get them to look at it, but I'm kind of scared to do so because if that is what they did, I'm sure that that's very illegal. And then I don't think that road is calm waters, should we say. Probably get a shitload of compensation. If that is what's happened, and they have done that you probably, I mean, that's got to be very illegal. But anyway, healthy breakfast this morning of a Dr. Pepper Cherry Crush, which is very nice, and a cigarette. Fortunately, as you may be able to tell a little bit anyway, I can always tell when I lost a little bit of timber. Going looking after myself a little bit better, which I guess is kind of why I've not been on here. I didn't feel comfortable to share. I had to get a new phone and stuff, so I didn't feel comfortable to share stuff when they could be watching it, if that is so the case, because someone has remotely jailbroken my device. So, and when I transferred the movie over to my, when I realised, and then I transferred the movie over. So I realised because I opened a banking app that I use for my finances, and it said I clicked on the wrong button, and it said you can't use this app if it's been remotely jailbroken. And I was like, oh shit! Immediately delete all finance types apps. And then I was like, right, well I'm gonna have to wipe the device because it's not safe, because I'm doing my money management and stuff on there. I've got my stocks and shares and you know the ways that I make money, and which is another topic I want to get onto, but. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have to send it over to my phone. I was like, do I send it over to my phone because it's been fucking up my iPad? I know that it could be a possibility that it is this video, but I was like, do you know what? It can't be. It must be something else. I must have used the internet. It must be when I was in Tesco's or something like that, even though I don't use the public Wi-Fi. And so I sent the video from my phone to my iPad. No, from the other way around. Sorry. And then my phone started immediately doing the same things. The app's not working, shutting down. And I was like, that's not ideal. So yeah, I haven't been really wanting to share if there's possibility that, you know, eyes are on it or whatever, because they've massively got it in for me. And the massive thing is, I only ever complain because I was right. That's the thing in life. If I'm right, if I know that I'm right, and my moral compass is telling me that I'm right, which I stick to more than really anything, it was telling me the right thing has to rise to the top of the end. Like, it doesn't matter. You should always stand up to bullies, and the cream always rises in terms of, like, you know, that's how it works. God and karma and stuff. So I did that, and now I've got a new phone, and I feel good. Anyway, part of this video, it is bad. If that is what they've done, and that is really scary, and I don't feel. I'm just, to be honest, I'm really scared of the police now. I'm really, really scared of them. There's loads of lads and girls that are actually like really nice and really helpful and really sound. And it's typically the younger bobbies, because as I think all coppers are bastards, they're not at all. Some of them are really nice, like kind of geeky, really nice, really personable people that actually just want to make a difference. And then some of them are not. And it's ones that like hide behind the badge, or, you know, are corrupted or corruptible, should we say, who don't do the right thing because they know that they don't have to. And that's the scary bit, especially when they've got it in for you. Ooh, I'm getting all anxious now talking about it. Maybe we should change subject. I don't really want to smoke this cigarette in the car, but as I'm doing a video. So yeah, that's the second topic that I wanted to talk about, is this stuff. This, either whatever is in it, is the aspartame or the acylfulfulmane K, got there in the end, or the penlininin, penlinen. So that penlinen is the stuff that makes you feel good. So if I feel low and down, I have one of these. It really picks me up. But there's a catch. Of all the things that I've stopped, ironically, well, I say that, I sort of choose smoking at the moment. I use these Nicotinell mints. These things are fantastic. They taste nice and they actually hit better than these. It's just sometimes if you're feeling if a lot's happened, for example, and this is only a short-term measure, because as soon as my energy and my body and get my energy back right and get my life back right and get settled and really get all the like mental energy toxins that manifest in your body, because that seems to be how it works. So you know the phrase, the weight of the world on your shoulders, that's when you get shoulder pain because you're stressed. So if you extrapolate that out through the energy systems and the chakras, so for example, if you're not feeling supported, you'll get a bad back, as it seems. Or I think that there seems to be an emotional, your body talks to you, so you feel the emotion, you feel the energy of what you're feeling, and then it manifests in whatever part of the body that emotion is correlated to in regards to energy system, basically. So root chakra, feeling of supported, feeling grounded. If you don't feel supported, then your chakras, your energy systems are out of balance, and then you'll get sort of back pain. And then and I also think there's probably a plant for every ailment, but I've not looked into that. I do take a lot of supplements, a lot of herbal supplements, holistic, ashwagandha, St. John's wort. The crazy thing is, it seems to be that this sort of system that we found ourselves in demonizes the need for using something to lift your mood. So they call it an antidepressant, which then creates a stigma about, I'm not crazy, I don't need an antidepressant, which it definitely does. There definitely is a stigma. And actually, like, who wouldn't benefit from being in a slightly better mood most of the time? I've taken St. John's wort this morning and it's lifted my mood, and that's a good thing. So like, why is that not being like talked about when the biggest killer of men under 50 is suicide? Why are we not saying like, oh, just take an ashwagandha twice a day, take St. John's wort once a day in the morning, or once in the morning, once afternoon, and you'll feel really good. You won't feel shit. We don't live in that society. Why do we not live in that society where people are actually given the tools to help them rather than get them addicted, which was the other topic I wanted to get onto. Of all the things that I've stopped in the last five-ish years, it says lighting a cigarette. The hardest thing I've stopped, so drinking, the difficulty with stopping drinking was that it's very much tied to society, especially in the UK. I've had a lot of my friendships and a lot of like going out and a lot of even like work stuff and like loads of stuff is centered around drinking, and the phone stops going when you stop drinking because other people don't want you to make them feel bad about drinking, basically. So they don't want you there when, as it seems, when they're getting pissed up and having a good time enjoying hedonism. They don't want some holier than thou sober guy to kill the vibe. So that's the hardest thing sort of societally, which is kind of like a new pair of shoes. You kind of just get used to it. And then cigarettes is fine when you've got a replacement. I find with those mints, I don't have cigarettes every day at the moment. And then the other thing, the headaches from cold turkey and this stuff. Speaking about it now, I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have bought that. And smoking a cigarette, I'm like, oh, but building the foundations of my life so that I can cut these out. Once my foundations are laid, my house is finished, my family situation settles, I'm seeing the baby more, which is amazing. I'm really bonding with him, which means everything to me. once those things are ticked off, then I can right, my body's feeling better. Right, okay, so I've started up in the yoga again. I've started doing the meditation again. My back's feeling a little bit better. I can be consciously aware of when I'm blocking I'm imbalancing my own energy systems by the things that I'm saying or seeing, or my diet, which is not only just your food, it's your media, your music, your film, whatever it is. So it's all about laying the foundations to then build upon. So I'm in the foundation phase at the moment, which is why I'm not beating myself up over the vices that I'm using rather than them using me. Because I could have quite easily had some of the mints today, nicotinides. But I've decided. I bought some cigarettes yesterday. I was feeling a bit stressed, and I've decided to have a cigarette this morning. I've decided to go and buy a drink. Well, the headaches on that stuff is no joke. It is a lot. It is bad. It's the hardest thing. So today I'm really just trying to decide which entrepreneurial projects to push forward with. So my day-to-day consists of, so this is what I was going to talk about. Monday morning, when I was working a 9 to 5 on a Sunday night, it was like the grimmest feeling. And it's weird, because I'm an empath and I'm a sensitive one at that, I can sort of feel the energy of like the day. So like on a Friday, I feel like a release. On a Saturday, for example, the energy just out and about feels completely different, especially Saturday morning. Feels completely different to any other day, because everyone's like, ugh. There could be a situation where we don't have to actually force ourselves to work in 9 to 5 that we don't like and bring our energy down. We could step outside of the matrix and do things that you find more fulfilling. Now, I've only realised that by having a more of a fortunate background where I was helped to do property, and that's enabled me to open doors for seeing things a little bit differently. And I was watching Silo. I don't know if anyone's seen the TV show Silo. We don't usually watch stuff like that, but I was watching it with my missus, and it's like hiding in plain sight. So she said something last night, and there's been a few things. The concept of Silo is they live underground in an underground thing where they don't know anything that happens, and they're not allowed out. And there's a pact, and there's reasons why. There's rules that you can't leave, and if you say that you want to leave, you get forced out. And they think that outside of the silo is like this, they die straight away basically, and they don't. It's like green grass and lush and just like normal life. So I've been realizing the last few times watching it, it's almost like the system that we live in, hiding in plain sight, like showing you bits so you don't clock on. And she said something, the main character last night. She said, I don't know spoilers, but her boyfriend's like asking the big questions. You're not allowed to ask the big questions, that's part of it. And he's asking these big questions. And he said, do you never think about the big questions? And her answer to him is, I don't have time for that. I'm a mechanic and I have to work on saving people and keeping the silo running. When she said that, I don't condone littering, by the way, but I did just throw a cigarette. When she said that, I was like, oh, that's what we live in. We are bound by our own prison of capitalism, where it's like we need all these things. We need a flash car to keep up with the Joneses. We need all the latest technology, no matter where the chemicals come from, how they're mined by whatever children or whatever it is. Not quite well versed in it. And we're locked in a prison where we need these things. Obviously we need to keep a roof over our heads and all that stuff, all that really important foundational stuff as well. Food in our mouths and food on the table and roofs over our heads as a wider whole. And because we work 9 to 5, most people work the system has us in school. We go to school from 4 and we're told what time we have to be in, what time we finish. We have to put our hand up to go to the toilet. We're told when we can eat. And for me, all that really does is get us into the mindset and mode of do things that you don't like from a certain amount of time in the day, 9 till 3, whatever it is, 9 to 5, and then after you have your break time and you can do whatever you want, and it's only in those parts you can actually do what you want. So school for me just gets us ready for a 9 to 5, and we're locked in this prison, as I say, of like, we need to buy, we need to spend, and we're drilled, we have it drilled into us that this is how life is, and this is what you have to learn. You've got lads that could be really handy mechanics or work with their hands and be really successful, because if you have business now as a plumber or anything like that, especially in that industry, in the trade industry, wow, you can make serious dollar, serious wedge. And but we have these people forced to do Pythagoras theorem, forced to do German, like, when they're not linguistic. And I think there really should be a balance of finding what kids are good at and then pushing them into that, or especially finding what kids love and then doing loads of it. But we don't live in that society. And when she said that on Silo, I was like, this really feels like this is purposely hiding in plain sight to like put us off the scent that we are actually living in the silo. And yeah, it was I found it quite uncomfortable, to be honest, because I've been, as I say, I've been a step back from the 9 to 5 matrix jobs for quite a while now, years actually. Yeah, I worked in finance until I was like 26, and I'm 35 now. Shit. No, it can't. It must be a bit longer than that. 27. Anyway, I had a good grounding in finance, but hated it, and that really led to me suffering with my mental health, which, by the way, isn't, well, there's such a grave misunderstanding of what that is, and it ties in again with earlier with what I was saying about how, let's try that. God doesn't want me to share that bit, but yeah, it's very much, we live in this prison that we sort of are fed through the TV. Like, one phrase that I've coined is like, is the media a reflection of society, or a society a reflection of the media? I think it's the latter, and I always thought it was the former. I think we recreate what we see on the TV, especially because I'm really into professional wrestling, especially the old school stuff. I don't really watch new stuff, but I love the old stuff. Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, even like Chris Benoit was my favourite, but less said about that for now. And I realised that the reason why professional wrestling is so successful is because the stories and the narrative created an emotional attachment to the character, and then you want to see your favourite character do well. And they have good guy and bad guy, the heel and the baby face. And if you extrapolate that out into wider media, so for example, with Silo, there's this very strong, very masculine main character who's female, and there's got to be a lot of young women that look at that and think, wow, I could be like that, and then they recreate that over time. And there's definitely a fake misogyny push in the UK at the moment. I don't know about the States, but predominantly in the UK, from what I've seen on the media, even though that is an American program, there is definitely a huge push in the media. Toxic femininity is a huge thing, because what you don't get, so historically there's been a patriarchy that's not let women do what they want, and then that's made women want to do the things that they couldn't do. So then women are very much now seen as more dominant, and there's a huge difference between strong women and dominant women, but there's an influx of narcissistic dominant women, and men are getting more and more feminized, and we're getting pushed down. Any male who speaks at the moment, it seems like, gets accused of being a misogynist. And I'm tying all this in. I like to think I'm quite good at pattern recognition. And we're getting pushed that it is fake. The misogyny thing in the UK is fake. It's not real. There isn't. The UK is not a misogynistic. It's not a misogynistic society. If you'd actually lived in a misogynistic society, you'd be able to see that. I have suffered at the hands of misogyny more than anyone. My wife is from Venezuela, and that really is misogynistic. And do you know how hard I've had to work? How much heartache, how much difficulty, how much challenge, how much strain it's had on my life and my wife and her life, trying to get her to trust me, because I have to say to her, I'm not machista, I'm not from that culture. The amount of times I've said that. My life has been gravely affected by misogyny. And I lived in a culture in Catalonia where I've seen it. I've seen the way that men speak to women over there. Not all, obviously, but I've seen it. I've seen a man in Primark pushed to the front, a line of all women, then they all start shouting like, say you can't do it, and he just shouts, Yasta! That's it, that's enough. Loudly, dominantly, abusively, and they all shut up. That's misogyny. Using your power against women as a man, being a bully, being an abusive man. What you don't get, you don't swap one out for the other. You don't swap toxic masculinity for toxic femininity. That's not how you get balance. And the only thing that's ever been important in the whole history of everything human mankind is the relationship between mother and child. The relationship with mother and child is unique. No man will ever experience that. The only important thing is that love, that bond, to keep everything going. Men protect and serve their family. Yeah, that's what a family man should do. But when the shit hits the fan, and so there's loads of dominant women, there's loads of meek, weak, pathetic, frankly, men that don't stand up for themselves, that, you know, this thing of wearing the trousers. But there's loads of, especially in the middle class, pussy whipped, for want of a better phrase, men. And I believe that is being encouraged through the media, probably to stop an uprising because of the state of the place. That's why they're being so hard on Tommy Robinson, probably. Like, opinions aside, like, I think he actually is very wrong about lots of stuff, but I do think he's very strong and very brave. I think he's got Islam all wrong based on bad actors, but I think they're trying to stop those sorts of people from rising and gaining recognition, because they're a challenge. Because in the UK we haven't really got fuck all. We've got the economy, which is kind of on its arse. With the military, I don't know how powerful that is. Like, I don't think the UK would actually be that difficult to take as an uprising. So I think they're trying to stop it. I think they are trying to stop it on purpose. And like, I don't think there's more lesbians. If you go out now, there's loads of lesbians. And like, if you're a lesbian, like, more power to you. I'm just saying that there's a possibility that you're not. There's a possibility that there's not more gay people. There's just more gay people on the TV. And we just play it out through the narrative from the TV, what we pick up. Because there's a huge difference between being proud and pride. Pride is a sin. Pride is a sin. Pride ruins lives. Pride is literally not allowed in the Bible. Like, pride is a sin. Being proud of yourself, being proud of who you are, that's huge. 100% support that. Everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want in whatever guise, and more power to you. I'm suggesting that it's been engineered on purpose so that it's another divide and conquer. It's another clash. Maybe to stop us having kids. Maybe that's why there's this huge push. Maybe it's not about stopping an uprising. Maybe it's just about stopping us having more kids, because there's a huge overpopulation problem. Because there's only so much room on the earth. That's why this thing about Mars and Elon is so interesting. Because there's not enough room. It's a huge problem. I think they're trying to stop us from having kids, as well as preventing an uprising. And I don't think there's more gay people. I think there's more gay people on the TV, and I think we play out what we see on the TV, and I think we're completely manipulated, and we don't really grasp the level of that manipulation until you step out and you stop watching it. I haven't watched TV really like that, live TV. Like, I haven't watched it for years. Don't watch the news. I only watch political stuff about like Trump and what he's doing, because it has such a wide effect on worldwide economics. So there's a lot going on, and I think that we are being targeted. And I think because I'm taking it slightly personally, I've been called a misogynist more than once now, maybe like 5 or 6 times, maybe more, and I'm just not one. And the UK isn't misogynistic. Venezuela is misogynistic. There are elements of Spain that are misogynistic. I've seen it. I've been affected by it. So when I come home and all the people are talking about is misogyny, I'm like, who's buying this? Who is buying this? And then it's like, okay, like, take their personal judgment away from it, break it down and think about it objectively. Who is buying this? It's the left wing. It's the ones that want to look outside of themselves for someone to tell them what to do, so they feel safe. They feel safe. And the easiest people to manipulate, by using their sense of empathy, by using their sense of compassion, is women and weak men. And that's why I have so much. The left wing are so misguided. I have so much love for them because they're the nice people. They think they're doing the right thing. That's the thing, when they see these right wing people attacking the left wing, it's like they genuinely think they're doing the right thing. They've been manipulated. They've been almost brainwashed into thinking this. But they think they're doing the right thing. But where are they getting those ideas from? They're getting it every day on the screens. Subliminal messaging constantly in the media. That's why your diet is not just the food that you eat. Sad, scary, all those things. But yeah, because I took a person because I'm a man and I've been called a misogynist. But more, it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I think the neighbours were scared of me, and they put their head over the fence and asked me to turn. The man put his head over the fence and asked me to turn the music down. I said, "Oh, the only reason I've got it on, I think I've shared this before. The only reason I've got it on is because your dog's setting off my dog, because they had 2 dogs there rather than 1, and they were setting off my dogs, and I worked really hard to make my dogs calm because foundation laying, and also they have one of them has severe aggression. I've worked very, very hard over a long time to get him to feel safe and secure and not react to other dogs. So he shoves his head over and he says, "Oh, can you turn the music off?" And I was like, "Oh, the only reason," he said no, and he turned around, they're having a drink in the back garden or whatever. And then I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm like, oh, this is weird. I'm just going to go and have a discussion with him over the fence. How that this is just an easy situation to fix. Shove my head over the fence, and then there's a barrage of like, I felt so attacked. I was just a complete barrage of abuse, basically. And I said, the only reason I've got it on is because I don't want to set my dog off. And they're like, no, that's a load of rubbish. She went, rubbish, load of rubbish. And then she was like, you're a misogynist. And I was out of nowhere. I've barely even spoken to them before. And I was like, and that's really what triggered me a lot, because she called me a misogynist out of nowhere. And I was like, how could you possibly denote, how could you possibly ascertain that I, right now, in my life, or at any point, a misogynist, having never spoken to me, ever? And that's when the penny dropped for me. I was like, oh, that must be coming from somewhere. And then I started paying more attention to it. And then as I started to watch a little bit more media, like more widespread media, I'm like, oh, right, that'll be why then. And it bothers me, because I think people are unhappy. And I think they're being manipulated into lives that they wouldn't choose, life paths that aren't their purpose, and they're just kind of doing it to fit in, or doing it to fit in, really. That's not the kind of life that you really want. Like, everyone should, like I said earlier, everyone should find what they love doing and do loads of it, and it's about facilitating that happening. I was very blessed in that I was able to get a jump up the ladder with the property stuff, which then opened doors for me. But not everyone has that, so it's like, okay, well, how can everybody get that so that everyone can actually be happy and fulfilled and have purpose and passion, which are the only things that matter. Love, purpose, passion. Nothing else matters. And how I figured that one out is because of my privileged background. I remember a friend of mine passed out next to a club in Chester wearing a 40 grand Breitling. So I was involved in that world, and then I was involved in that world, and involved in that world, and I was like, oh, actually, this is all bullshit. It's baseless. It doesn't mean anything. It's just flash. And the middle class are the ones that drive the premium market. And because of my privileged background, I know people that are a couple of steps away from the king, and they don't drive Lamborghinis and shit like that. That's nouveau riche. Let the clowns do that. Let them play out their own capitalist prism. Because money talks and wealth whispers. Money talks and wealth whispers. Middle class drive a premium market. So being introspective and a thinker, and a lot of it comes when I'm running as well, which I would love more opportunity to do. I have problems in the body associated with thingy, but yeah, I'm going to leave it at that because I've got an incoming call, but I'll call back in a second. Finish this off. So yeah, it's we find ourselves in a very challenging time, and the Tommy Robinson stuff. As much as he is brave and he is a beacon of hope for a lot of people, he is also wrong about Islam. It's bad actors that are a problem. It's not Islam that's a problem. It's bad people in the name of Islam. You get bad Christians. You get bad everyone. It's what I seem to realise is only good against bad, and religions, when they're done in the right way, all of them are very respectful of other people. And just even if you disagree with, whether or not women should have more freedom or not, which, by the way, we don't have all the answers. We think we have all the answers, but we have pornography. So we don't have all the answers, do we? So we've gone one way, they've gone the other way, and there should and is a happy medium. And I think it's about conquering, divide and conquer, and seeing that it's only good against bad, and that the system that we live in isn't necessarily conducive to widespread harmony and contentment, and like the only important thing in the history of human mankind, and that huge, amazing, uncopyable, the only thing that matters is that bond between mother and child, and then men just like let them do the work. Women and children are the most important thing. That's why in the movies all the men go out to battle and it's leave the women and children safe. Yeah, because they're more important. They're what keeps everything going. Then we just have to we have to facilitate keeping it going, because women and children and dogs are more important than us. But that's good. That's the burden of being a man. That's being a proper man. Not hiding behind your kid when the ball's flying, covering the kid with your arm, taking the hit for your loved ones, because they're more important. Our job as men is to protect the ones that we love and be family men and be strong. And for some reason, probably population control, possibly rebellion, anti-rebellion thing, we're not living in that time, and we should be celebrating our natural roles and taking our heads, turn your TVs off, which is ironic because if anyone's got this far, they're watching probably this on a screen. Well, they definitely are. So anyway, I best leave it at that. She needs to know that I dropped him off at nursery. So take it easy, everyone. What does it say? Peace, love and light. Take it easy.